Celebrate your life. Celebrate the good and the bad, the happy, the sad, the joy and the pain, the sun and the rain. Celebrate life. Celebrate your life with love.
Hello, beloveds. Welcome to another episode of A Spiritual Remedy. My name is Sunshine Daye, and what a joy it is to greet you today. You know, a spiritual remedy is geared towards people in recovery, people who are ready to lay down or already have laid down their weapons of mass distraction and are ready to live a life beyond their wildest dreams. People who are ready to live their best life. If that's you, welcome to the show. And you don't have to be in recovery in order to benefit from what we talk about today. Wow. Here we are already in the first week of October. Hey, Jan Ford, so wonderful to welcome you today. I want to know what's happening for you. What is going on for you? Please let me know where you're tuning in from. And if there's a particular topic that you are interested in talking about. I know for me, there's a couple of things on my mind today, and I want to be able to make sure that we are looking at some of the things that are of interest to you as well. So first and foremost, I just want to thank all of our viewers. Hey, what's up, my friend? I want to thank all of our viewers. Lisa Ensley, thanks for tuning in today. I want to thank all our viewers for your consistent love and support. I've been doing this show for about 2.5 years, maybe 3 years now. I lose track of time. And it is the way that I get to contribute to your life. See, I see a world where clean and sober people, I see a world where people in recovery, I see a world where people who are practicing abstinence are living their best life and loving it. And what I get a chance to do is provide my experience, strength, and hope, and spiritual tools and personal tools for your personal transformation. There she is, Bertha. Hello. I've missed you tremendously. I'm so glad to have you with us today. One of the things, I want to know what you want to talk about. If there's anything that you want to talk about, go ahead and put it in the chat. I definitely want to address that. One of the things that I want to talk about are relapse triggers. Relapse triggers. And, for those people who have experienced long-term sobriety, I'm not necessarily talking about returning to drinking or drugging or overeating or sex or gambling, if those are your addictions, or even, cell phones, or even codependency, right? What I am talking about is behaviors. And that's one of the things today that is something that I look at, especially in my own life. There are things, having experienced 36 years of sobriety, of abstinence, from drugs, from alcohol. That's a great accomplishment, and I'm not minimizing the accomplishments that I've had in my life. I am also taking a look at the behaviors. Like when I see myself, and when you see yourself as the person in society, in life, with your family, with your friends, with loved ones, how do you picture yourself? And then what are the behaviors that you are engaging in that are actually effective compared to the behaviors that you are engaging in that don't work so much? And it's that I'm talking about. It's really looking at what are those triggers? What are those things that that caused me, and I'm not even going to say that caused me because ultimately I believe that I caused myself, right? But what are those things that piss me off, annoy me, make me sad, make me just, what are those things that when I'm feeling those feelings, what are those um, at, at that turning point? How do I make decisions to take the road of behavior that is the most important to me? Um, yeah, so Nancy, I didn't even see you log on. What's up, beloved? Talking about justifiable anger, huh? Like what that's a good topic. Let me see if I could weave this into what I'm talking about today. And then who's this? Loneliness and grief, right? Let's see if we can weave that in there. Hey, Sunny Day. Um, so when I am feeling justifiable anger, when I am in my loneliness, in my grief, how do I, and what are some of the steps, what are some of the things that I can become cognizant of so that my behaviors are actually behaviors that are effective and move me forward instead of paralyzing me and instead of moving me into this place where I am no longer trusting life and trusting spirit. Chris Carlito, it was so good seeing you this weekend. What's up? You want to talk about fear? Um, let's see who else is on today. Ken, hey beloved, thank you for saying hello to me and to the group. So yeah, when we're talking about justifiable anger, loneliness, grief, fear, when we're feeling those things, how is it, or what are the steps we could take to move into behaviors that are going to be effective? So, um, there are days and times, and especially of late, when I feel grief, grief over a lot of the things that I've lost, some of the independence, looking at some of the ways that life is showing up for me. And when I look at all of those things, are they actually triggers? Are they a trigger? And what is a trigger? And when I think about trigger, I think about like a water gun. And when I pull the trigger, the water comes out, right? I want to be very nonviolent here, right? And think about water guns instead of others. And is it a trigger or am I making a choice? And that's an interesting place to be around wondering like, oh, am I triggered? Is this a knee-jerk reaction? Or am I actually at choice in this particular place and time when I'm angry, when I'm fearful, when I'm lonely, and experiencing grief? Let's see what Jan has to say. Jan says, I've been practicing staying in the now and not allowing a current situation attached to my past experience. Um, and I see you're getting a thanks, Jan. Um, that is, staying in the present moment is, in fact, one of the tools that we can practice. As a matter of fact, when we're triggered, instead of calling it being triggered, or even if you want to call it being triggered, take that moment to recognize that it's kind of like, oh, somebody's pushing my buttons. Why are you pushing my buttons? The bottom line is I didn't install the buttons, but they are being pushed. And when they are being pushed, it's important to recognize that there's something happening within me that is calling forth a revelation. Some people might call it a healing. I call it a revealing. And when when I'm triggered, if I could slow down enough, if I could slow down, be still, be silent, A little bit like what Jan is talking about, being present. And being present for me means slowing down, the three S's: slow down, be still, be silent for a moment, and recognize that there's some movement, I'm feeling some type of way, there's something happening. And what I want to do is remember and remind myself that right where I am, there is a power and a presence and a life. We get this opportunity to trust spirit, trust God, trust higher power, to trust spirit, to recognize that it is right where I am. And to the degree in which I begin to depend on it, I become more independent. So to the degree in which I am still, am silent, and I slow down, even now, and I say to myself, something is seeking to be birthed by me, is seeking to be revealed. There's a healing that is seeking to take place in this moment. And it's showing up as a trigger, but really it is tricking me into thinking that I have this knee-jerk reaction and that I have to react. But what I know is that I can respond. Thank you, Ken. Ken says that triggers are reminders. They are reminders, right? Sunny Day says, I inquire within and connect to that which is greater than it all. Absolutely. It is that moment where I want to curse you out. It is that moment when I want to run. It is that moment when I just want to unload and be rageful, that I can stop, to slow down, right? Jan says she loves it, right? Slow down, be still, be silent, remind myself that there is a power and a presence and a life that I can use for my good. And it is living in, through, and as me in this moment. And as I begin to remember that, and I am reminded of that, I am actually at choice, which is a powerful position. Now, I know a lot of times in recovery communities, they talk about we're powerless, but we're powerless over people, places, and things. We're powerless over them out there. I'm not powerless over me. I get to make a decision and a choice. And so, is it a trigger, really, or is it a choice? And so I'm renaming it that it is a choice. And in this moment, I'm making that choice to take not a higher road, not because I'm elevating myself over you, not because of any of that, but I am making an effective and a healthy choice for myself. It has nothing to do with the outside people, places, or things. And in that moment, I recognize this divine presence and power. I recognize that I am the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent, powerful way that spirit shows up in human form. And I tap into that power and presence. Now I'm no longer powerless, because when it's just me and my ego, I'm powerless. But when it's me and spirit and higher power, when it is me and God, I am recognizing that, now I have, and I can move from a place of power. And so the practice, beloved, is to pray and meditate and remember several times a day. Remind ourselves through our affirmations, through our prayer, through our meditation practice, that your life is the life of God. There's nothing that can separate it. And that at no point in time can you be separated from this power and presence, and that you are at choice. What do I choose to do in this moment? What do I choose to do? So, beloveds, thank you so much for tuning in. I am filled with gratitude that this message has come through today, and that I was able to tie in what you wanted to talk about. Thank you for tuning in. I want to remind you also. I just want to remind you really quickly that on October the 22nd, from 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time, I am going to be hosting a Serenity Prayer workshop where you can discover the peace within, where you can find strength, where you can embrace the wisdom in times like this of uncertainty, of fear, of loneliness, of grief. It's going to be in person in Huntington Beach or online, so you don't even have to be in California to participate. You'll learn what that serenity prayer really means, and you'll learn the magic of how to use it to really elevate your life. So thank you so much. Let's see here. Yes, you're welcome, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Removing the ego is a choice. I love it. And then remember to remember through my Dharma talks and meditation. And that's right. Remember to remember who you are. All right, beloveds, we are way over time today, but I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, know that you are loved. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to A Spiritual Remedy. Use the links in the description for prayer requests, to donate to Be That Spiritual Learning Center, and to join our mailing list. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And you can visit us at vidaslc.org for more information.